Hello, it's Dr. Alan Yim. In this video, I'm going to show you common tone modulation, which should not be confused with common chord modulation. The difference is dramatic, and in common tone modulation, you're going to see that we use two chords to create the modulation that are very dramatically different sounding. So these two chords are normally in a chromatic mediant relationship, which means that the roots of the chords are a major or a minor third apart, and the two chords have one note in common. I'll give you an example, but in another video, I'm going to show you how to find these chromatic mediant relationships and how to find the common tones. So to give you an example, let's do one in major. I'll start in F major, and maybe I can go down a minor third to D major. So the two roots are a minor third apart, and both chords have the same quality, major. And you can hear they have a very distinct sound because the other pitches sometimes move by half steps and whole steps. And well, let me ask you this question. F major and D major, what's the common tone for those two chords? So I'll let you think about it. If you said A, you'd be correct. So how is this used? Well, we might end the first section on the F chord, and then the next chord would be, okay. This is not to say that the keys are F and D. I mean, they could be, but they could just be chords that are in the keys that you're starting and going to. So we're going to see an example of this in a Scott Joplin Rag. It's not exactly a modulation. I chose this because it has a very interesting tonicization, and I think the spelling of the chord is, well, you'll see there's a lot of accidentals, so it makes it maybe a little bit confusing to analyze, but let's take a look at it. Okay, so I used Gladiolus Rag. Right away you can see it has 4 flats in the key signature. And the thing about this is it has a lot of chromaticism in it. So right away you notice there's accidentals, and they're not, they're mostly passing tones here, and so, or secondary chords. So they're not modulating yet. Doesn't mean it's easy to play. Okay, so okay, and it goes on. The part that we're interested in is at the end of the piece, so we're gonna go there now. So here we are at the end, and let me move myself out of the way a little bit so you can see the very end. The key is now D flat. Reminder, we started in A flat and we went to D flat. So you might ask yourself, is that normal? Because we are going to the subdominant, not the dominant here. So I think the key relationship's a little bit unusual, but we saw that in another piece by Joplin. We saw it in Solace, and I think that that's not abnormal for him. It's also not abnormal for him to end the piece in a key that's different from the one he started in. So we started in A flat major, now we're ending in D flat major. So A flat to D flat major. It's a little bit different, maybe. Let's take a look at this last section. You can hear it right there. That's kind of, there's that chromatic mediant. So what are the two chords that are used here? Well, going back up to this measure here, okay, this chord looks like D flat, right? This whole measure basically is D flat. And you might, okay, so that's a D flat major chord. What about the next chord? It really helps to know because, yeah, if you don't know what that chord is, and you just look at all those accidentals, it might take you a very long time to be able to learn it or to play it. But if you think about, well, okay, D flat, to B double flat, which is a major third away. So D flat to B double flat is a major third. Maybe a better way to think about it, if your mind is like exploding right now, is to think D to B flat instead of D flat to B double flat. We know D to B flat, major third, D flat to B double flat is also a major third. And that's the chromatic mediant there. He doesn't take the common tone out, so this is not really, it's not really a modulation, it's just a tonicization now of B double flat. But let's take a listen to it again. Okay, so there's the B double flat and this. So that's F flat. Okay, so F flat, B double flat, F flat. Let me hope I'm doing this correctly here, because actually F flat is the 5 of this, right? And then 1. And then back to 1 where we were. So it's like we're in the key of D flat, we go into the key of B double flat, we do a 1 5 1, and then we go back. Okay, so it really is tonicized, but not, we don't stay, it's only a measure and a half of this second chromatic mediant relationship. So I'll play the whole thing to the end. It's really fresh to hear this. It's not subtle, right? It's a surprise. So this is kind of like a little refreshing thing to hear in this whole D flat section, because there's a lot of D flat major in this. Okay, thanks for watching.